Well, one of our needs, I guess, was the left side. We feel that we addressed that. Umberger was a guy that played on our left side, right side, and we knew he wasn't going to be in our team next year, so we replaced him with a guy who fits in on our left side perfectly and fits the need of a top two-line player in our books and in our minds for next year and into the future. So our team looks pretty good right now in our eyes. I think that we're going to be a better team next year, and we're pretty excited about it. But you never know. I always say this: we're looking at every opportunity to get better. So if we can get better through a trade or free agent signing, we'll explore it.
That trade doesn't change how you think about your organizational depth.
Yeah, it does. I mean, he brings a guy in that we feel is a legitimate top six forward. So you know, it certainly changes, and we have him locked up for 5 years. So, you know, depth's a big part of the whole equation. As you've seen many years with injuries, you always need depth. In a forward position, I think now with the recent drafts and some of the guys maturing and getting closer to being NHL players, I think that we're in pretty good shape. We have some very young defensemen that sort of graduated last year with Ryan Murray and David Savard, and I guess you could still count Dalton Prouden, one of those guys that are going to be, in our mind, they're going to be very good NHL defensemen for very many years to come. And then we still have Tim Eriksson, who's sort of on the verge of becoming a good NHL player, and Cody Golubev. And we believe those guys will play in the NHL and have a career. So, you know, draft's a good opportunity to restock the part where guys are still in the prospect column on the amateur side. And, we're going to have 8 picks right now to try to figure out where we can get some good prospects, and hopefully some will be some very good future defensemen too.
You said 8 picks. Does that mean that you will have the 38? Do you know that yet?
Well, I'm sort of counting on that being there. I guess that's an assumption from my part. So right now we have 7. I'm hoping that we have 8. If I'd have to guess, I'd say we have 8, but that's obviously up to Anaheim, and we'll know before the draft. So we'll see if we have 7 or 8, or we might be able to, you know, move back and get multiple picks. You never know, and that's always happened. That we did that last year and got Bjorkstrand with the extra pick that we picked up. So that's probably something that we're going to be at least looking at our options at 38 and 47 if 38's ours, and maybe even at 16 if we don't like what we're seeing after 15.
What have your scouts told you about this draft in terms of defensemen? What the defensemen are like out there? You had it broken down for you in that respect?
Yeah, well, I read their reports all year and look at the lists, and we put the list together in the final meetings, and we listen to everybody's opinions and who they're pushing for. And I think on the defense side, it's similar to forward side. It's not real top heavy. I guess you could say that, you know, with Ekblad being considered to go #1 overall, in that way it's top heavy because it's not very often when defensemen go first overall. But after that, it's not like there's 2, 3, 4 great defensemen right at the top of the draft. Like, you know, in the best years in the past you could think of as when you had Doughty and Pietrangelo, and those guys were all ranked in top 5. But there are some good defensemen that you know, can come to play maybe later on in the first round and second and third and fourth round. So we should still be able to find some good defensemen even after the first.
Is there do you almost consider it a log jam when you look at organizational depth? You know, you mentioned restocking the amateur side, the prospect side. I mean, do you have a log jam on the pro side right now?
No, I don't think so. That's a great problem to have if you feel that you have too many players. I mean, sometimes contract-wise, I guess it could create problems too. But if you have good prospects, if you have good players, you can always make a trade, because somebody will be calling you and saying, "What about this player? Can you fit him in? We'd be interested if you can't." And if they're unrestricted and we can't fit them, then you're going to have to just wish them good luck and let them walk into the future. But you know, I mostly see that if you have too many good players, it's a good problem to have, and I'd like to have that problem.
Does that make you more willing to take a flyer, so to speak, in this draft?
No, I don't think that you can look at it that way. I always keep saying that if you're drafting for need or taking a flyer because of something that you feel that you might need, that could change. I mean, it's especially when you get further back in the draft. I mean, it could be 5-6 years before that player plays and has an impact, and we could have a completely different team at that time.
There are a lot of variables in your estimation with how this opening round could play out. With guys, some guys projected 22 to 30 other guys out of the first round. It's really unpredictable, especially this year.
I think it's always unpredictable. Sometimes you can see, okay, the top 10 looks like, okay, everybody has the same top 10, so it's probably going to be like that, or 6 guys, 7 guys. There's probably going to be around 5 to 10 guys that are pretty going to be locks for that top 10, and then after that it scatters all over the place when you don't have the top heavy draft as everybody's saying this year. But it's. Everybody has different lists, and even with the great mock drafts that there are around with good experts and guys that see games, and they don't have to draft anybody. It's the teams that know what they're taking, and they're not usually telling anybody who they want to take. Their lists are not public.